Yo, this is it. I'm Mr. Fade, and you're listening to Attack of the Beats on IllMuzik.com. Once again, another 5 beats, another 5 reviews. And before I get into it, you must have noticed by now that IllMuzik, I got some stuff going on YouTube now. I mean, the YouTube account was always there. You know, I made some videos back in the day. It was for Attack of the Beats, actually. And then I made some other ones, you know, just some goofing around ones. I think it's still up there, the one with, I got the turntable with my beer on top of it, which is really stupid, you know, when you're drunk, but whatever. But I was careful, though. I was careful. I knew not to do anything stupid, really. And I ended up making this video that some people actually liked, so whatever. But yeah, so YouTube is there, YouTube IllMuzik, so make sure you go check it out, subscribe, and share it, and tell everybody else about it. And yeah, so... But enough about that. Let's get into Attack of the Beats. First up, we've got Abstract Beats with Untitled. Let's check it out. All right. Okay, so that was Abstract Beats with Untitled. I don't know if there's an actual title on this one, but that's what I have here. It's Untitled. But yeah, so for this beat, actually what I like about this beat, the main thing is that it's the vibe of it, because right off the bat, it sounds like something that's it's got this Caribbean vibe, but at the same time, it's not really. It's kind of like a. It could also substitute as a street anthem in a way. You know what I mean? Because it's the flute and the percussion. Those two together, it just sounds nice. You know, it just sounds really, really good. And the thing is, you have the drums are good because the kick's really good. And that's fine. This snare, instead of a smacking snare, you get this kind of light brushed snare, and that's good because it fits really well with the rest of the music, okay, with the rest of the tracks and the whole vibe of the beat. And it does blend with the hi-hat, but at the same time, the hi-hat, it's too, I guess, choppy, I guess you could say, whatever. I just find it too choppy, but it's weird because it goes so well with the snare, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I mean, maybe if you could substitute that hi-hat somewhat, maybe just tone it down a bit, you know, because I find it was just a little too loud, you know, just a little too loud, and so it really brought out that choppiness of the hat or whatever. So, but I do like the whole vibe. The bass was borderline too deep or whatever, but it was very good. I like it. And it was nice progression throughout the whole thing. It was really good and stuff. So like I said, the main thing is the hi-hat. So maybe try to tone it down a bit or substitute it for another hat. And I mean that's and the bass. Like I said, yeah, it's borderline, but it was okay. It was good. But I really like the whole vibe of the beat. That was the main thing there. So keep that up. That's some dope shit because I could definitely see this as some kind of street anthem or somewhat. Yeah. All right, so next up we got Flip Beats 215, but Never Too Late. Let's check it out. All right. Okay, so that was Flip Beats 215 with Never Too Late. I love that sample. I've heard that before. I can't remember. There was one group off. I can't remember offhand. It was back in the not 90s, it was like early 2000s or whatever. And they sampled that. I can't remember who it was, but anyway, it was a good flip or whatever. But what I like what you did was that you actually played with the sample somewhat because. That song I heard a while back, they basically just looped that sample and all that. And it was good, but it's just they just kind of looped it. But for you play with it, that was good. But I just find you played around with it a little too much. It was a little too much of it's like I can picture you sitting there just hitting the keys or hitting the pads, whatever, just hitting that sample over and over and all that, And I think if you just had a better control over that sample when you play with it, like if you just kind of... just make it a little smoother, not so choppy, just don't bang the pads so much with it and stuff, But what you did, I did like it. It's just I just think if it could have been, controlled a little more, or whatever. And the kick was good. I would say because it kind of sounded thumpy, that kick. I wasn't crazy about it. It was good, it matched with the sample, but I just think it could have been maybe if you substitute for something else. I don't know. Snare was great. I liked it. What I recommend, though, which I was hoping you were doing, was when you have the first part of that sample that you play, and then the second part of it, let's say you had a bass line going, and then the second part, you just had the bass line drop down a note, because it would blend in so well with that part of that sample. So try doing that when you have the sample. Okay, the first part, first two bars, let's say, and then you're playing your bass, let's say, and then the third and fourth bar, you have the same bass, but you just kind of drop it down a note. I mean, that would sound so much better. It would just, if you get that right note with the bass to go with that sample, it would sound beautiful, because then you have the horns and all that. That'd be really nice. And that's the other thing with the horns. I don't know if you could try to maybe isolate one of those horn hits and do something with that, because that'd be pretty cool too, So, but yeah, the main thing is the bass, man. If you can do something like that, because that's what I was trying to hear. I was trying to hear something like that on that last part, the third and fourth bar, man. Try something like that. But other than that, though, it's a dope beat. I like it. All right, so next up we got Gavin with Moss 8921. Let's check it out. All right. Okay, so that was Gavin with Moss 8921. All right, so for this one, I like this because you have the kick, which is really good. Okay, it's a nice thump. I like it. It's good. The snare, though, if you're gonna do a snare like that, I always recommend, okay, if you have a hard snare like that, bring it down the mix a bit because it is a little loud, and then just add a bit of reverb to it because it's kind of dry. Actually it is dry, I should say, but and the thing is because it's a dry snare, it's very loud. So the thing is that what some people fail to realize is that when you're listening to music, right, like sometimes you hear a song where it's really good or whatever, but then the snare just like really hits hard, and if you got headphones on, it's kind of ear piercing in a way, not yours, but some people do that, so you got to be careful of that. So just kind of bring yours down a bit, add a bit of reverb to fill that space, because I think you could definitely use that for this type of beat. As far as the strings, I like the pattern you're doing. I like the way you're building up the beat. I just think if you can get a better sounding plug-in for those strings, it would make a big difference. Because right now it's fine, the nice little tune you have. I just think they need to sound just nicer, like smoother, like more professional in a way. You know what I mean? But other than that, I like the beat. I like the way you're doing everything. I like the way it's carrying, and it's definitely a type of beat that I can hear a rapper on top of. So it's one of those beats for sure. Even the way you've done it now, I can definitely hear somebody on top of it. But if you want to clean it up and just give it that polish a bit, just try those few things, and it'll be a lot smoother. All right, so next up we've got J-Dub Logic with 5 times. Let's check it out. All right. Okay, so that was J-Dub Logic with 5 times. All right, so I like the vocals. I like that vocal snippet, the way you're doing that. It sounds really smooth. Okay, that her voice is really smooth. I just wish I could understand what the hell she's saying, but it's really smooth. So that's the main thing right there. Then you have your kick and low end, which is good. It's very good. A little heavy, but it's good. I like it because it's one of those beats where you can just bump it. You know what I mean? Like I can picture somebody just bumping this in their car, just cruising around and getting pulled over and all that. You know, but no, I could definitely see that. You know, because this is what it sounds like, this type of beat. So it's dope. But because of the atmosphere you have with this beat, when the snare drops in, it's kind of disappointing in a way. You know, I think the snare, you know, definitely, I mean, I say this so many times, but really, it really works. Trust me, man. Add some reverb. And especially for yours, you should add a lot of reverb to this because it's just the way the atmosphere is for this beat. Definitely add some reverb on that snare. It'll just really bring it to life, because right now the beat, it just sounds really good, but I just think it just needs a little more life to it. So I'd recommend the reverb, and then I was hoping you'd bring in something else, like either a synth, very subtle, or strings or something in the background, just something like halfway through the beat, just to bring it in. I know like halfway through the beat you brought in more of the vocals, like a little background thing, like a harmony, and that's fine or whatever, but I wouldn't rely on the vocals too much for the beat. I would try to bring in something else, just something little in the background. But besides that, the main thing is that snare. Just bring that snare, use that snare to bring the beat to life a little more. You know what I mean? But other than that, I like it. It's good. And like I said, it's something that you could definitely bump in your ride and get into trouble with. So, yeah. All right. So next up, we got the last beat. It's Pole Pockets with the JBs. Let's check it out. All right. Okay, so that was Pole Pockets with the JBs. All right, so this one's interesting because you're sampling James Brown, and it sounds really good. I like it. It's funky, right? Because James Brown, of course, it's funky. All right, no matter what you sample from this guy. And it's a good beat that you have put together. The thing is that if you're going to sample James Brown, you got to put some horns in there. Now, I can kind of hear it, some subtle horns in there, but I'm thinking like some big horns, right? Because he's got a lot of beats, like a lot of songs like that, where it's just got these horns in them, and they're just blaring, right? So I think you should add that because it would bring life to this beat. because right now it's a solid beat you have. It's just that it just kind of sounds monotone. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like the same all the way through. If you bring in something to just give it a little boost, you know, like the horns, for example, that'd make all the difference. You know what I mean? All the difference. And the other thing too is that you have that background noise. I guess it's supposed to be like a crowd cheering or something, but it doesn't really sound like it in a way. Like it does, but it doesn't. It kind of just sounds like this white noise or something like that. So honestly, I would just get rid of that. I would just get rid of that background and just have the beat itself the way it is and all that, and just, you know, like that. Because the background, I don't know, it just kind of took it away from me. You know, like it just kind of like, I don't know, just kind of like distracted me in a way or whatever. So I would get rid of that. But then, like I said, then bring in some horns, because the rest is fine. Just bring in the horns, and then that way you could also add some kind of little bridge, some kind of little chorus to it or something. Because right now it's just the same thing all the way through. You know what I mean? So yeah, just to change it up a little bit like that. You know, just change it up a bit, add some horns, maybe even a bit of, you know, James Brown, a little more oomph from James Brown. I don't know. But yeah, but it's nice. I like it. It's a funky beat. All right, okay, so that's it. That's it from me. I'm Mr. Fade. This is Attack of the Beats. Keep sending your beats in. I'll keep reviewing them. And my favorite beat is, drum roll please, Abstract Beats with Untitled. Let's check it out.